Welcome back to the Sixth Man, and it's time to talk about Nikola Vučević. The Bulls have been doing very well this season. Everyone's been talking about them. They've had a slew of injuries, which might influence their decisions as it comes up to the trade deadline, including the man in the middle, Nikola Vučević. Now, the question ultimately I want to pose is, should he be traded? And the reason I say this is because he's really not been performing to the same level he was in Orlando. And that's with, yes, he's getting fewer shots, but he's had a massive, massive role with a lot of these players being out. And he really hasn't been able to show it. Most notably, his shooting has been the worst in his career, worse than his rookie season. You often don't see players regress that far in terms of shooting numbers. And also, he is a turnstile on defense. He gets hunted all over the floor. That is also because Caruso and Lonzo have been out, who are point of attack defenders, and people don't get past them. So it means Vooch is covered up a bit, but as they've been out, it's not been good. So, I want to quickly hear your thoughts on Vuč's season so far, and then I've done some research. I'll get into some potential trade stuff.
I'm obviously going to be super biased because obviously he's the Orlando boy. Oh, Alex, did you want to go?
I think you should go after me because your opinion essentially matters more than mine
Matters least. I'm going to be super biased. So
no, that's interesting that you bring up his rookie season because that was in Philly, and nobody believed it. I'm sorry, Vuč. Nobody did. I think the Bulls need to make a trade, and his slumps throughout the season is really concerning because he is getting fewer shots, but he's also had less attention drawn to him because of the other stars on the offensive end. And if he's not producing on that front, then he's got to be adding something defensively. And that is just something he can't do. I think you can get better with defense through energy and effort. And I think that's exactly what your team needs to go to the next level. I'm sorry, Vuč, but we don't need you to put up the numbers you previously did with Orlando. We need a specific fit. And that's why I think the Bulls need to make a move because they're sliding down that table.
all right, cool. Let's go. So I was looking at I wanted to look at overall stats and I was going to go into a bit more detail. So as you said, Bray, his 3-point shooting has completely fell off the map. His last 2 years in Orlando, he was shooting at 40%. And last year, when he played 70 games, he was shooting 40%. And the year when we had him for half the season, he was at 40%. Right now, he's at 33%. A lot of his threes were driving kicks to the top of the key. So we have the ball, hand it off to someone, drive to the paint, they'll kick out, he's wide open for a free, bang. And it always looked as in, even if it didn't go in, it looked like a good shot. And it was always a good shot. I haven't seen as much balls as I'd like to, just because I'm just so focused on the Magic most of the time and my other teams. But my first question is, what sort of threes are you getting? Are they like open threes, whatever? Secondly, what you're seeing in terms of the offensive production, I think potentially he may be a little less aggressive. He knows he's not the first or second option, and maybe feeling that he isn't that and has to take a step back. Maybe his game is also taking a step back. It's like he's being a bit more passive. How often do the Bulls feed Vuč? Like, is it okay? First quarter, we're going to make an effort to go to Vuč down the block every time because that's what we did in Orlando, and he was getting double teamed quite often. He's got so many good post moves. Offensively, he is so good. However, when you've got DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine on your team, they're probably going to get the first set of shots, or they're probably going to be the number one options. That was also the second thing I was thinking. Thirdly, on defense, you're absolutely correct. And I think it doesn't help with the fact that you're arguably your best defensive player, who's a sophomore, is out injured. So, and as you say, Lonzo Ball as well, obviously your defense starts on top, but they do go at him. That's what happened in Orlando. He's not a bad defender. It just seems that, as you said, if you're targeting him, it's quite easy to score. Now, in terms of trading him, from a front office perspective, I don't think they would want to do that. You can't trade the guy that you gave up 2 first-round picks for and a really good young player in Wendell Carter Jr. That is not gonna that talk about taking an L. That would be really mature of them if they were to accept that they completely cocked it up and be like, you know what, let's make a better move for us. But I don't see that happening. And I don't see who would pay that much for Vuč, because arguably the Bulls need, I think everyone knows that Bulls are going to be a buy just because of the position they're in. Like, oh shit, we have to win now. We're in such a great position. So I don't know how much leverage they will have from their side. But those are my 2 cents on the thing. I don't think we'll trade Vuč. But again, it's a new team. It's the first time they got 2 All-Stars in their team this year, and it's their first year playing, and they're already second. I think it's maybe just looking a bit too much. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a dilemma. And with your point on the shots, I have watched a lot of Bulls this year because they're actually good. I didn't really watch any last year. That's the kind of fan I am. But he does get really good shots. When he's driving to the rim, sometimes he's just not finishing off those moves. He is getting kickouts when DeMar DeRozan's drawing through defenders. And like he has like the Raptors game, he wins us that game because the defense gets drawn to DeMar, kicks it to Vuč, and Vuč makes the 3. We lose games where he misses that 3 because he's always open for that shot, because DeMar and Zach are so dangerous and so clutch that teams are like, hey, just have Vuč shoot it, and if he makes it, he makes it. And it's a shame because I think he has been getting really good shots. I think you're right in the sense that he's not being fed as much. He's getting fewer shots, so he's probably not as in rhythm as he was in Orlando, obviously playing in that system for so long. But, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. He's not been performing. So what do? I had a look. Vuč is the 6th highest paid center in the league at 24 million. There are only 10 centers.
That's fair.
I think
that's fair.
10 centers in the league that earn more than 15 million. So the drop off is absolutely huge. So if you're talking just trading 1 for 1, let's just change centers, you can't do it because the numbers just don't add up. It gets really, really complicated to trade a guy like Vuč. And when you look at that top 10, you've got Gobert, you've got Karl-Anthony Towns, the Joker, Jared Allen, Joel Embiid. They're all untradeable, completely untradeable for those teams. The other guys in that top 10, Al Horford, weirdly enough, he ain't doing it. So, you know.
I wonder who paid him.
He ain't doing it. Steven Adams, good player, but he ain't doing it either. Evan Turner is another one. He's injured. Capella signed an extension.
Not Evan Turner.
I did it again.
Not
every
Evan
time.
Turner.
Every time. I say Evan Turner. Every time.
Evan Turner making a comeback in the league.
Evan Turner's making a comeback. And as I was saying, Clint Capella can't be traded. He's just had an extension. He was one of the guys that I did look. I really wanted that. I was like, oh, the Hawks could do with a change. What if we had Clint Capella? It could work. But it doesn't because he can't be traded.
I don't think the Hawks want Trae Young and Vučević on the court at the same time.
Oh yeah, my!
That would be horrific. That would be absolutely horrific. But then I was like, okay, fine. What can I find some teams with centers on better numbers that allow you to do other things? So the only kind of ones I found, and the reason there's a player who's not in this list because he's not classed as center, apparently he's power forward, and that's Kristaps Porzingis, who is apparently a power forward. But he earns like 33 mil. So it's just like, you don't want to touch it, even though he still brings you that 3 and D kind of. You know, I think it's something the Mavericks would want, but the Bulls wouldn't. So I don't know about that. The other guys that I looked at were people like Christian Wood. You probably need to throw in some salary filler, someone like DJ Augustine. But then the Bulls are probably having to throw a pick, I think, for the Rockets to be interested, at which point we're 3 first-round picks into this Vučević experiment. I don't think that's acceptable. I don't know about you guys. So, and the only other one, which
it's the window, bro.
Oh,
it's the window.
If you want, we can give you back Wendell Carter. If you give us Vuč and drop it, we'll give you back Wendell Carter if you want.
Oh dear. I mean, the only one that I actually entertained was getting Rashawn Holmes and then maybe another piece. So maybe someone like Bagley. than trading back because he's on expiring.
Yeah, when anything fails, go to Sacramento.
Exactly.
Or if you need a big man, why don't you go to the team with the most big men?
You do have the most big men, but you saying you want Vučević back?
I'm saying we have options. You for some reason people will still think like Robin. Did you watch Robin Lopez's game a couple weeks ago?
He's been on the balls. I know about Rolo.
Couple things. Did you watch his game a couple weeks ago when all his shots were hook shots and scored like 20 odd points?
Like he might have one of the nicest hooks in the league. No one shoots him.
So one of the best things on the Orlando Magic's broadcast, they do this thing called "Is This Anything?" And part of it was who's made the most hook shots in the league. Robin Lopez is second with the most hook shots in the league. He barely plays for us, and 80% of his shots are hook shots. So that's genuinely all he does. Everyone calls him Captain Hook.
Who else is hook shots?
I can't remember. There was someone else. I think maybe one of the centers had like more hook shots, but because they played for longer. But everyone seems to really want Robin Lopez. Cool. On defense, he is dreadful. Worse than Vučević. That's why he can't get on the court because everyone literally goes at him. Worse than Vučević. But anyway, Mo Bamba, he's coming up to his contract year, and we just gave Wendell Carter an extension. So that's also another.
Bamba.
That's another potential one.
That's
another potential player that people are looking into from Orlando. And then obviously the third one is Wendell Carter. But Mo Bamba seems to be a trade target for quite a few different teams, but I'm not sure if it fits into what the Bulls are looking for.
Not the Bulls.
Yeah.
Because, and this is really what my research alluded to, in that, yes, he's having a down year, but he does a lot of other stuff. He is a really good passer. Like, when there's a double team and the ball comes into Vučević, he knows what to do with it. He knows how to find the open man. He knows how to give really good handoffs. He sets really good screens. Like, he gets DeMar to his spots really, really easily, which is important when we're talking about the effort levels coming from an AHL superstar.
He's a good chemistry guy as well.
Good chemistry guy. Great rebounder. That has not fallen off at all. His rebounding is great. Yep. He is an automatic. How many is he averaging? Let me look here.
11 rebounds a game, so exactly the same as last year. 11 and a half.
Automatically, it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't matter. His points varies. He might have 20, he might have 9, but he's always getting 11 rebounds. Sometimes more, sometimes 13, 15. It's
2 offensive rebounds a game as well.
Yeah, wow. I absolutely can't fault him on that. So I think the main thing that the Bulls is a concern for the Bulls is the defense, which would have been fine apart from the fact that defensive power forward that they have is out for the season. So that, in my eyes, I think is the best place to shore up the team, is to find a defender to go alongside Vučević. So I had a look at some of the best rim protectors in the league, and sample size has messed some of these up. But apparently, Mike Muscala is a really good rim defender.
You need I don't know if get Torrey Craig. Decent
Torrey
defender.
Craig, Mike Muscala, Brandon Clark, Maxi Kleber. And I saw this. On the Suns, Jalen Smith. He's there from 2 years ago. Their draft pick that they haven't extended. So you get him for pennies. Take a flyer on him. When he had some games earlier this year, he was actually really good. It probably wouldn't cost you that much. You might have to give up Troy Brown Jr. Sure. They've got some pieces on the edges there, and if they really wanted to go and say, okay, let's trade Kobe White because we feel like we've got enough guards to get a decent power forward, because at the moment all they're dealing with is, and like Javonte Green and Derek Jones Jr. have been really good, but they need to upgrade that spot. I think that's going to be best for them, as opposed to trying to change what they've got in Vučević, because even if you could find a center, no one's going to stretch the floor. Even with him shooting badly, not many centers stretch the floor as well as him. And that's kind of what you need with the kickouts from DeMar and Zach. So I think I'm so frustrated and tortured when Vučević has a bad game and when he gets abused on defense and when he goes 2 of 13 and we lose by like 3 points. And I'm like, literally, you need to make 2 more shots and we would have won. But I think it's impossible to trade him, because he even him playing badly is better than basically every other center option they could realistically get out there.
It's such a confidence thing. Even his free throws in Orlando, first half last year, 82%. Last year for the Bulls, 87%. This year, 74%. I just think he's just. I think it's just a confidence thing.
You know what? I'm going on the record. I believe in Vučević I think he's the real X factor to this team. If he picks it up, the Bulls are for real.
I really want the Bulls with the 5th pick. I really want them with the 5th pick if they can fall to me.
I don't know if I'll last that long. All right.
Vučević.
We're going to leave it there. Consensus is we like Vooch. We hope he doesn't get traded, but wouldn't say no to a ball. To be fair, I wouldn't say no to a Bulls move. But if they don't do anything, I'm not that mad because they've got some guys injured. They've got a decent team.